Hey guys, this is Oren from Geek Cosmos. I'm here to talk to you about um, speculation today. The video I promised about Lifeline speculation for the upcoming game. Today, what we're going to do is actually talk about all the games that are already out, um, and then afterwards, I'm going to presume what the next game is going to be about. So first of all, of course, spoilers for any of you who hadn't played any Lifeline games. I'm going to talk about all all the games that are published right now on the various stores. I'll do a small recap of each game, and then I'm going to talk to you about my theory about what's going to be in the next Lifeline game. Um, Presuming, of course, that the next event that happens on Twitter, I think it's called the Trail, maybe. Carlos talked about it in his Twitter tweets on Lifeline Twitter, and it's supposed to happen next week, I think. So that said, let's talk about first the games that are already out. Okay, so first we have Lifeline, the first game that ever came out. It talks about Taylor, which we all know and love, and essentially what happens with Taylor is that he comes in contact with, or perhaps not comes in contact, but he comes to know about green aliens that kind of um, take over your body, and once he met them on the cursed moon, then he actually continued. Not he. I'm sorry. I'm going to fix that. We don't know if Taylor is female or male. So let's just call call them Taylor. Okay. So Taylor. This is funny. Uh, Taylor doesn't actually know what they are. So Taylor kind of freaks out and escapes the moon, um, and that story is carried over to Lifeline 2. Not Lifeline 2, Lifeline Silent Night. Um, so actually, what we see in Silent Night is the continuation of that story, and it happens on the White Star. I think the spaceship, the White Star. Maybe I'm wrong. Fix me. Um, so it happens on the White Star, where the aliens are actually going after Taylor because he escaped and he knows about them and he's a danger to them. Because once Taylor knows about them, um, Taylor can actually, um, at least in their perspective, Taylor can actually tell someone, and then their existence is threatened. So that's about Taylor and Lifeline 1 and Lifeline Silent Night. Of course, Taylor's story is kind of halted with that black hole, where Taylor is now in orbit around that black hole, um, and we kind of wait to see what happens next in the Taylor storyline, in the Taylor experience. So that's about Taylor. Now we have Lifeline 2, which is the story of Arika. Now, Arika Lanfear is a young girl, a teenage girl, and she's a mage. and she's kind of out to take revenge on the Greens. That's how she calls them, and they kind of hurt her family and did some terrible things to them. And her only connection left in the world, except you, the player, is her brother, Rand. Um, and he's kind of stuck in a different dimension or something, because she kind of left him there. She thought it would be protective for him, but she didn't know for sure. So now she's kind of trying to find him, um, and in the same time, kind of take revenge on her family being murdered. Um, so that's what you help her with during Lifeline 2. You help her in getting 3 artifacts that she needs, and then afterwards she's kind of going back home, and you need to help her resolve this. Um, and her story is kind of ends there when she meets her brother. Um, if you helped her in the right way, she will meet him, and the ending will be kind of cool. Um, the only thing about Arika that's kind of different to me, is that Arika kind of left this world. She's no longer on Earth, or at least she's not on her dimension, because when she followed Rand, she followed him into an interdimensional door. Um, he already has experience with all that stuff, and we don't know what happens next. But I think that the reason we don't hear much about her is because she has become some kind of behind the curtains player. She's kind of like us now. She sees things from a different hidden perspective. So she kind of she can make a return later on and be very knowledgeable about things. And for now she's going to remain silent and watch things happen. And because she knows you, the player, she's probably going to watch you as well. So that will make sense when she will come back, and that she will know stuff that happened to you with other experiences. That's what I think, at least. Um, so that's about her. So that her story is kind of ended for now, but I presume that she will come back later on in a different game. Now, my theory about the next Lifeline game is this: unless we see some kind of recurring wait. We can talk about this. Not yet, because there's one more that I didn't mention. How very rude of me. Lifeline Whiteout, where you met Adams. Um, Adams is kind of a different story. It happens on a different dimension where the greens don't exist. At least that's what's implied, I think. Um, they kind of they're not shown in any capacity, so it might be the same dimension or it might be not. I think Carlos in his live stream um, kind of suggested that they aren't in the same dimension, so I'm going to take his word for that. Now, Adams is kind of his story is very different as well, because we kind of see a person that we've never heard from before, and he's kind of like lost, and he doesn't remember anything, and you discover that he is in a kind of facility that you don't really know much about. So what he does with what he has is kind of reflecting of your choices. Now, if you played that game, you know that in the end, um, you kind of meet a doctor that says that Adams is supposed to be his ultimate body, and that once he transfers his consciousness into that body, he will be immortal. And that's when we realize that Adams is actually a clone gone rogue or something like that. He's very he's a potential android in the way that he is actually very emotional and very human, even though in his physical condition he's actually a robot. Underneath all his skin and all that, you realize that there is metal, there's a core, there's robotics. So we only kind of realize this at the very end. Now, why is this important? Why his experience is kind of weaved into all of this multiverse stuff? Because you had a choice, and you had a very serious choice when finishing Lifeline Whiteout. Um, you had to choose for Adams whether he will become more human or he will become more machine like. Now, I think that's a very important decision because it's going to be reflected in future games. Now, I'm not saying we're going to see Adams again for now, but we are going to probably have a consequence of that choice, because in all of the choices that you made, that is the only choice that has any bearing about the future of Adams, and not something he needs to decide right now. Um, the same perhaps may be said about Blue, the dire wolf, or the wolf. He's kind of implied that he's very intelligent as well. Maybe he was another creation and that we don't know that yet. But I think that the decision to make Adams more human or not will be reflected in future games, because it's a personality question and not just a go there or go that way or go that way in a different way. It's a very centralized decision. So okay, now we talked about all the games that are released. We talked about Lifeline, Lifeline 2, which is called Bloodline, and Silent Night, and now we talked about Lifeline Whiteout. Okay, so I talked about all of them. Okay, so what I think should happen now is that we will have um, one of two options. The first is that we may see the continuation of one of the characters we have already met. Uh, I don't think it would be Adams, because we have we got no clues about his reappearance. He may appear. I'm not sure. Now, something very interesting happened in Talk to Taylor, the last Talk to Taylor. There was a time disruption, and that might be related to the next game. Maybe. I don't know. It's kind of a very strange timing pun intended, um, to do something like that, to reveal something like that just before another game comes out. So maybe Taylor will be shown in the next game. I don't believe that Taylor will be the focus of the next game, but I do believe he may be shown in some capacity. Um, if that's the case, we're going to meet another character, another protagonist, and then we will kind of see his perspective about things, and his place in this multiverse that the Lifeline franchise is building. If that's the case, we're going to see another story with a conflict about maybe the Greens, maybe something else. At least that's what I think. We're going to see um, another reflection of the multiverse, like another building block in that multiverse. That kind of paves the way in the future for a game that can combine all of these storylines together and make an epic game or experience where you kind of meet all of them and at the same place at the same time through the eyes of another character, which is kind of meets all of them somehow. Um, so actually, that's my theory. That this next game will probably be another building block in the multiverse, unless it's going to be focused like Silent Night, which was a direct continuation of Taylor's story. Now we know it's not going to be Arika because everyone, like any person that asked Carlos about Arika got a negative reaction about her kind of um, connectivity with the Lifeline HQ. So I don't think it would be about her for the reasons I already talked about that she's kind of a backstage player now. She's kind of watching things from the sidelines and waiting for the right moment to jump back in. That's what I think. It's not going to be about Adams because his story is kind of in a in a in a free way now. There's not much to do unless we're going to, I don't know, meet Adams and watch his story with the Greens. Maybe he's going to meet them somehow. Maybe that might happen. I don't think so. That only leaves Taylor, and because if Adams is out of the picture and Arika is out of the picture and the dimension, the only character we already know is Taylor, and and in the last talk to Taylor, something very interesting happened. So that kinds of um, it is a kind of clue that maybe the next game is connected to Taylor somehow. So um, so yeah, to conclude, I think that the next game um, will be about a new character that might meet Taylor, or a direct continuation of Taylor's story, which is unlikely but possible. Let me know what you think. You can either message me, tweet me. It's at Oren lower dash C. It's called a lower dash. I don't know. Um, and another thing, if you're already here, so thank you for listening to me because English isn't my native language. So I probably made you like what a few times during this video. So I'm sorry for that. Um, and talk to me. I really, really enjoy this kind of video. And let's talk.